This video, I just wanted to share with you guys and also like to the public this email that I got from somebody recently, and also some things that happened recently. I don't know, it's kind of weird like that, but I've been getting like several messages from people from Germany, you know, that are like really interested in what I'm doing and things like that, and they're sending some messages and showing a lot of interest. And then just the other day, like it was just yesterday, man, like this dude just showed up at my door like out of nowhere. Like I was just going to train, the dude just showed up. He's like, yeah, I'm from Germany and I came all the way here to visit you.
What?
I'm like, what?
Nice.
He's like, yeah, I came all the way to Germany to visit you. And he said, I've been watching your videos since you started. And I didn't know at all that this dude was going to show up. I never communicated with him online or nothing. He just came out of nowhere, dude. So that was crazy, right? So then, you know, we started talking and everything, and he started, he trained with us, and we went to dinner, and we had lunch and all this stuff. So that happened. And then just yesterday, somebody else sent me a message. I'm not going to say his name, because I don't know, I don't want to put him out there like that right now, but unless he wants to. But basically, he said he's from the UK. He says he's a full-time martial arts instructor. He says he specializes in control and restraint, and he holds a 4th dan in Jiu-Jitsu, along with the senior instructor grades in Krav Maga, training in Israel. Alright? So he says he wants to know how much I charge because he's interested in training over here with me one-on-one. He says he likes my teaching style, and he feels he can learn a lot from me. And he says my humility is appealing to him. And then he says, you know, so now I communicated back with him. And then basically, he's basically serious about coming over here. He said he's been training for 30 years. He said he opened his first class. He only had 1 student. And then now he says he has over 200 students. And he says, you know, he loves what he does. He said he wants to come here to Chicago for a week and train with me 4 to 5 hours a day. And then he says in June he's going to be in Israel, but then in July he might be able to come in July. Alright, so basically I just thought it's just interesting. This is going to be like this is going to be the first time that somebody like would travel over here to learn like seriously, you know? Because there's been people that came here before from other states and other countries, but they're more just like supporters. But this guy actually is a teacher of the martial arts, and he wants like specific training to help him be better at being a martial arts teacher. So this is gonna be a first time thing where this may happen. And if it does happen, that will be it'll be a really good experience, and then I'll see like how it builds on that. But I did have people contact me several times before where they wanted me to travel outside, like fly to other places to teach. But I was like, there's no way that Jenny would ever accept that. And she's also like really concerned about my safety and stuff like that. But this person coming over here, like into my territory and under, you know, everything's under my control and everything, it's a lot more comforting for me. And it makes Jenny's still like, you know, she's really like paranoid about things, but she's, you know, okay with it too, you know. But I mean, this is like a new thing, and I think and this is another thing that happened, because Derek came back to visit for a few days, right? And I asked him some things about, you know, his travels. He said that he was in Texas. This is another experience, and he was in some place, I don't know, some cafe, something, and he said that he was wearing the FMK logo, and some other dude in there was a cage fighter or something like that, and then he recognized our logo, and he knew about us. You know, so that was pretty crazy, man. I was like, man, like it's starting to like slowly like get out there, and you know what I mean, like I'm just like preparing for that, you know. And you know, like I hope there's the positives obviously, but then there's the negatives. Like basically there's obviously people out there that don't like me, And the negatives is the risks involved with communicating with people of whom you don't know if they're really on your side or if they're on your side. And just how easy it is for somebody just to take me out. Easy. Like, just easy. You know what I'm saying? With a gun, whatever the case may be. So that's the risk. That's the risk. But
is this why you always carry a weapon when you train?
It's not just that, but it's also like the change in the laws just recently in Chicago. They've just recently allowed concealed carry, right? So, like, I had that training in the police of where they allowed you to carry off duty, and at the time, I decided, you know, I didn't really care to carry off duty, so I did it for a little while, but then I stopped doing it. And then I lost the police job, started doing this, but then that desire, like when something's taken away from you, when you had the right to carry a gun out in public, but then you don't anymore, like you end up like missing it. Like I'm like, man, now I want to do it, but then now the law finally changed, and now I could actually carry in public if I want to. And then also my perspective in the training has changed where I've integrated a lot of weapons into my training, you know, and then my more of a reality-based focus of the training, because I see what the cage fighting has done is making people be like, oh, you know, how is that effective in a fight? Oh, how does that work? Oh, that's useless. Oh, this will only work. That won't work. They're so focused on what will work that I'm like, okay. If you're so focused on that, let's start teaching what really works. Let's bring in the weapons, and then now that throws them all off, because there's no weapons allowed in the cage. But you know what? There's weapons out there on the streets. So now what? How is that real martial arts when you don't even deal with weapons? So what I like about the training now is that we bring that weapons element into the training to ensure that this is the real. Like, this is as real as it possibly can get, is with the weapons. And not just any weapon, but with the guns too. So then that puts everything into perspective. And then with the change in the law allowing me to carry it out there, and even with the change that didn't, even if the law didn't allow me to carry it out there, the law allows me to have it in my home and my place of business. So I'm protected in my home, and I'm also protected in my business. Now, when all these people coming in through the door, I don't know who's coming in. I don't know who's an enemy. I don't know who's a friend. I don't know who's a customer. So anything can happen at any time. People could come in there blazing, and I need to be as ready as I can. And then also, I like the idea of having it with me at all times, like how a samurai has his sword with him at all times, and how we have our cell phone with us at all times, and how we have our socks on at all times. Or at least I do. I know Ryan doesn't. But but how we have our underwear on at all times. Like, I want to have that gun with me at all times, so that if anything ever came down to it, like, I'm as ready as I could be. You know, so
I saw a video with the title "I Practice Gun Fu." That was a good one. I liked it. And when they say you can carry like a concealed weapon, what do they mean by that? Do they mean that you can go outside with a gun, like in your pocket or something?
Yes, as long as it's concealed, as long as nobody else could see it, you can have it out there. You can have it in your car while you're driving. You can have it while you're walking on the sidewalk. You can have it while you're biking. But once you start stepping into like private areas, like businesses, you're not supposed to have it if they have a sticker up there saying that you're not allowed to have it. You're not supposed to have it. But if it's concealed, how are they supposed to know you have it? It's almost like me telling you, don't have a quarter in your pocket. Like, how are they going to know that you have a quarter in your pocket or you don't? So as long as you keep it concealed, you shouldn't get in any trouble. But if you have it in a place that you're not supposed to have it, and say something happens, say you got caught shoplifting, then you're going to be in trouble. Because then now they arrested you and they found a gun in you, and they'll be like, you're not supposed to have it in here. So then they're going to pin that on you too. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be careful. There's a risk involved if you decide to take it out there, because you're not allowed to have it in the train. You're not allowed to have it in the bus. You're not allowed to have it in the hospital. You're not allowed to have it in the school. You're not allowed to have it in the bar. You're not allowed to have it at the park. I mean, it's like you have to know everywhere that you can and can't have it. And if you have it, if you get caught having it when you're not supposed to have it, you're gonna get in trouble.
Huh.
You know, so it's like you have to be careful with it. But
it kind of reminds me of that when they were first allowing homosexuality in the military. They had that don't ask, don't tell. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're allowed to be gay as long as we don't know. As soon as we know, you got to get out. like I don't know, that law seems kind of funky to me. Like you're allowed to conceal carry, but there's so many places that you're not supposed to go with the gun. I mean, it's basically you're allowed to for on the street. But it's not realistic because, you know, people go on the street to get from one place to another. And it's those places that are not allowing it, right?
But you know what? Like, it's interesting, though, because I know what you're talking about. Like, that's really, that's how it is. But at the same time, I'm kind of surprised that there's a good amount of places that I go to where it's not banned. Like I was assuming that, okay, I can't go to Target because they're gonna have the stickers up, but then they don't have the stickers up at Target, and then I go to Jewel, they don't have it up there either, and then I go like say like there's a good amount of places that I go to they don't have the stickers up. Now they do have the stickers up in certain other places, but it was pretty surprising that like that actually there's a good amount of stores out there that don't have the stickers up. You know, so, but at the same time, you know, like, this is my mentality. Now, I don't want to promote people to break the law, but this is the realness of it. Okay, it's against the law for me to carry a gun at a place where I'm not supposed to have it, right? But it's also against the law for 3 people that want to hurt me, you know what I'm saying? It's like, They don't care about the law, okay, so you 3 want to jump me, okay, so I'm going to break the law too. I'm going to bring out my gun and I'm going to blast all you guys and I'll deal with the law later. You know what I'm saying? It's like people that are so concerned about the law, it's almost like, you know, worried about breaking your toe opposed to like getting your whole leg cut off. It's like, why are you worried about getting your toe broken? Your whole leg is at risk of getting sliced off. It's like people are focused on the wrong thing. So, I mean, there's certain risk factors involved. I mean, if you get stopped by the police like on a weekly basis because you look suspicious, or you live in a neighborhood where they constantly like discriminate against you because you're black or whatever the case may be, then I would say it's not a good idea to carry the gun when you're not supposed to. But if you lived your life for 20 years and you never even been searched one time by the police, then I say that there's a good chance that you don't got to worry about those little details. You know what I'm saying? That you could kind of just make sure that you do it the right way to give yourself that added safety, you know, in case there's danger.
But you can use it if you're getting attacked in the streets, right?
Say it again?
Like, is it you can use it like if you're getting attacked in the street? Does the law allow this?
Oh yeah. That's why we carry it. Like you can.
I was hoping so. Because when you said if 3 people attacks me and I get the gun and I might get in trouble, but I was thinking like if you're carrying a gun, you need to use it if you're getting attacked.
Yeah, you could use it, but you gotta realize that the way that it is out there in the real world, as soon as you pull that trigger, like you might be like just throwing away your life savings. Like it's just like you might have $200,000 saved up, and as soon as you pull that trigger and you kill somebody, even if it's justified, like you could be like broke for the rest of your life, because now you got to pay out all this money to prove that it was a justified bullet. And that right there, sometimes some people might think that is worse than dying, than to like lose all that money like that. You know? So it's just a lot involved. You know, so sometimes people be like, even though they have the right to carry a gun, they still might decide against it because it's just they just rather not even deal with that. You know, that in addition to like some accidents happening, somebody getting a hold of it, all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What's the purpose of it having to be concealed? Because I remember growing up, like there were, when I was growing up in Oregon, I would go into some stores and the store owners were allowed to have firearms, and they could wear them right on their belt, showing that they had a gun, and you'd be thinking twice about robbing that store. You know, I'd go into stores and they'd have like shoulder holsters and they'd have a big revolver right here, you know. And I haven't seen that for a long time, but that's how it was when I was growing up. I wonder what is the reason for insisting that if you're going to carry it, it has to be concealed?
Well, actually, myself, I don't know like their reasonings behind it, but I know that like certain states, like I know for like Texas, for example, I think from what I've heard, they have to have open carry. Like it's like the opposite. Like in Texas,
right,
it has to be open. But in here, in Chicago and a lot of other places, it has to be concealed. Now, my assumption is that when people see a gun, they've already been trained for so long to think he has a gun, he's a criminal. He has a gun, like he's a bad person. He has a gun, he might shoot up the place. Like there's already like a fear-based feeling about guns. So then, basically, when you tell a person to conceal it, like it's supposed to keep people in this trained mentality to believe that guns don't exist. You know, that they don't have to worry about it. But if they do identify a gun, it goes right back to their original way of thinking. Oh, this person is a criminal. I need to call the cops. So even if you don't do anything wrong, if somebody sees your gun, they could call the police and then you'll get arrested because it was supposed to be concealed. So it just trains them to react how they're naturally reacting through all these years. It's almost like me like telling Ryan, oh, you got to do the horse stance this way. But then he's been doing it in a certain way for 10 years already. Like he's already so trained to do it the way that he normally does it that for me to retrain him to do it a different way, it's going to be too hard because I had to restructure his brain like thought process. But so then people's brains are already thinking that the only people that are supposed to have guns are police officers and like gangbangers and criminals. But the regular people aren't supposed to have guns. That's what they're already trained. So when they see a gun, they're like trained to call the police. So then like telling people to have it concealed is almost like making people feel like they're living in the same reality as they were living before the law changed. Basically making people believe that everybody doesn't have guns, but then in actuality 90% of the people out there might have guns. It's just that you don't see it. You know what I'm saying? So then they just still, the people that don't believe in having guns themselves can still live in that fantasy land where they don't think that people have guns. Because everybody's hiding it anyway. So I don't know. That's what I think it is. But I think in a way it's kind of a good thing because it's almost like representing like what I think a martial artist should do. It's like he's not supposed to be all out open. Oh, I got a gun. Like I know how to fight. Like it's supposed to be more like hidden power. Like I don't want to fight. I don't know how to fight. But then if they really did have to fight, then they take care of business. Like I think that's what the concealed is kind of like showing that like you're not supposed to just like show off your gun to everybody like to make everybody think you're a badass.
Right.
It's supposed to be concealed and nobody's supposed to know that you even have it anyway. So then there's nothing to show off. It's not supposed to be an ego and pride thing. It's supposed to be only used when you absolutely need to use it. And that's what I feel that goes in line with what the martial arts is supposed to be. Like you're not supposed to fight unless you really have to. Not just because the guy called you a shithead or because he looked at you the wrong way or because, he swore at you or that he got you angry. You know what I mean? Like, you're only supposed to fight when you really have to. You know, and with the gun, that's what they're trying to teach, is that you're only supposed to take the gun out when you really need to use it. Not just because you want to show off to think that you're a badass. And that's what a lot of these gangbangers do. They'll be like, what? You know what I'm saying? What? Just like, you know, like, that's not how it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you're supposed to, like, back away from the fight and not fight, you know? But now that you got the gun, now you want to fight because you got the gun. No, it's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to, like, regardless if you got the gun or not, you're not supposed to fight. But if you really had to use it, then you take it out. You know, so... But, you know, that's what it is, you know. Anything else to say, you guys, on that one?
Don't you think, like, it kind of encourage people, like, to... because not everybody is responsible in life. And, you know, people can be just encouraged to snap up. And if they get crazy, like, if they get in a problem with somebody and they just snap, get the gun and shoot the place up and... you know, don't you think it kind of encourage like violence in some ways?
Well,
because just talking about statistic, like, you know, in Canada we don't have the right to use gun.
Yeah.
I know they let people they allow people to have welfare, like, for a very extended period of time, and in the United States, if I'm right, you cannot have welfare for a long time. Am I right? Like, you are limited for a certain amount of years, right? Is it how it works?
Not as far as I know. I think as long as you meet the income's minimum, or like as long as you're under the income of what they expect, then you'll get it. So there's
no matter how much year you can keep it.
No, I mean you get like reanalyzed. You gotta reapply every year. So say you make $10,000 one year, you'll get it. But then next year you find a job and you make $40,000, you won't get it.
But if you don't go and search for a job and they be like, hey, you've been like on welfare for 20 years, will they take it out?
Well, you have to have a job. Like, you can't get it without a job. Like, you have to show income coming in. So if you got if you got a low paying job and you just never get a raise, then you'll get it all the time.
So it's more strict with welfare than in Canada. In Canada, it's like you can almost do whatever you want. Not do whatever you want, but you are allowed to have it without. Anyway, I'll go to the point. So since it's more strict in the United States with the welfare, people are more like attracted to, like, they are more stressed and they feel like they don't want to. They don't want to get me the welfare, or I don't feel like working, so I'm going against the system, and now I can have a gun, and it's more attracting to be a gangster in some ways. Like the statistics show that you have like 10 times the amount of murder and homicide in big city. So if I compare a city that has around the same amount of people in like Montreal and Washington, but it's the same amount of people, but 10 times you get 10 times more homicide. And I kind of think sometimes that if it was more strict with the guns and maybe give a little more